Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. This is one of those instances where I'm re-uploading or re-recording a clip I've already done because I didn't understand the camera. When it said cancel recording, it deleted what I've already done. So I don't know how I'm supposed to stop the recording. When you press the button, nothing happens. You hold it and it says cancel and it deletes what you've recorded. Anyway, not your problem, my problem. A quick description of the system I'm going to be using to run a performance V8 in a vehicle like this that is not very, where you cannot really program the factory system to do any like big upgrades like turbos or anything like that. Even running performance camshafts, this ECU is not happy. Not happy. It when you start it up with lumpy cams, it sounds like it has the cams. Take it for a drive and it dumbs it down. It smooths it out somehow, and you're just missing out on the performance. So you can only, like, I'm guessing you put in some HO cams, that's about all you can handle here. So, alright, so I've been seeing Tristan, who's got the YouTube channel Quick Shift, or his business is WTF Auto. I had this card here somewhere, I believe. Yes, if you don't believe me, that's his name. WTF Auto. Tristan, he is primarily JDM, but he's happy to help you out, and he will help you out with whatever he can. Like, he's definitely not a Jeep guy, but he's always there to back me up and to give me advice. Thank you, Tristan. Originally, I was going to do a pin-out kit with the original harness. So basically, I was going to go over here, pull the wires, look at the codes, re-plug them, and somehow mount the Haltech here and use it as a pin-out and bypass the factory ECU, which kind of sucks. There's not much you can do with these. They're not really programmable as far as I know, and I've looked into it. Not a great deal you can do with those. When I've done performance upgrades on these engines, it doesn't really want to play ball, right? In its factory condition. Apparently you can do stuff with it, but it's really expensive and you've got to pay every time you want to change the tune. I believe AirRam Performance has a facility there, or a company there, where you can do that. But for me, that's not really what I want. I want to be able to plug in my laptop and do my own tuning. I want to learn how to do all that. So, here is the Elite 2500, and this here, with these two cables, can handle everything that I want and more. Unlike this mess, which cannot do what I want and more. And also the way it's done is so messy. Like all these earths running to the block, many earths, and then back to the, why have an earth running to the block to a sensor when the sensor is screwed into the earth? Why not earth it out in the block? Why run a separate earth from the sensor to the block? Why not make it so the sensor earths out? Confusing. Again, the best part is no part, right, Elon? The best part is no part. So why add an extra earth when it's screwed into earth? Why not earth it out right next to it, or even when you put it in, you know, you lock it down, little eyelet, an earth, done. No, you have to run it through the harness. Many earths. Also, you've got wires running to the DCM, and then it tees off to the ECM, and it tees off to the dashboard. Honestly, it was a nightmare, but I'm getting there. I'm getting it all sorted. I'm getting it all divided. I am labeling everything. Like, one of these orange wires will split off into 3, and then one of those will split off into another 3, and then one of them will run to the PCM, and one to the ECM, and one to the TCM or PCM power. One's for supposed to be for transmission, and the other one's for the engine apparently, but yet they intermingle somehow. I'll have this. I'll end up putting this in the glove box compartment and run the cable to the dash, and this will stick out the dash somewhere, and I can plug in my laptop. This will come through the firewall, right, and I'll wire it up super duper neat, so mostly it cannot be seen. I want to run like the wires underneath the intake manifold, not on the outside but inside the valley. And the good thing about this is they're all labeled, right? So super duper easy. I'm not sure what these fat ones, crank and cam. Wow, I wonder why these on the Jeep, these are just normal wires, but these look like they're shielded. I'm not sure why, but there must be a reason. Yeah, one's crank, which goes to the front, and the crank goes to the back near the starter motor. And yes, they're all labeled, so it's easy. Once I've got this coming through a hole in the firewall, I can just lay them out and wrap them up, and it'll be beautiful. And it won't be like, oh, the wiring harness is in the way when I take off the rocker covers, or the heater hoses are in the way. I need to move them before I can take the rocker covers off to inspect the rockers. You know, everything is like hanging on top of the rocker covers, rubbing them, heating up, melting, fusing together. Why, G? Why? Is it to stop people working on their own vehicles? It feels like that sometimes. It feels like you're making these things so hard so that people just don't feel like working on their own stuff. So here we've got in the dash. Now this is for the ECU. Which the plugs are on top. I'm not sure why these are not heated and shrink tape. Maybe because they're thinking you want to add or remove some of these wires. So by them not heat shrinking it, you still have the ability to do that. Same here. That's what I'm guessing, right? Why have wires running that you're not going to use, for example? Some people may not use all of them. I'm sure there's stuff here that this engine doesn't have. So there's also a port here for communication, right? So I can plug my laptop in while it's in the glove box, or I can use this dash port, which is probably what I'll end up using. So these dash units also come with a pinout plug in case you just want the dash. With the dash itself has apparently quite a lot of functions, and even if you don't want to buy a new ECU, you can install one of these and do a pin out and run your dash wires into this, and you can have a nice modern dashboard into an older vehicle or even a new vehicle. It feels very good quality, feels like die cast aluminium. Everything, that all the plugs, when I plug these together, it feels great, you know, not like these. No, they're really smooth and well designed. This was the pinout kit I was going to use with the wires on this, but they're getting old, 25 years old. In certain places more brittle than others, especially where it got near a heat source, and in multiple places, at least 3 places, they were all fused together, melted together, and I had to physically pull them apart to separate them, and it damaged the insulation coating. So I wasn't real keen on reusing these. I wanted to save the money, but in the end it wasn't, I wouldn't have been happy. It would have frustrated me and made me very unhappy. And possibly I would have had leaking wires, not liquid leaking, but leaking electricity, like sparks coming through and earthing out somewhere. I didn't want that. So just going through the system for you with what I've got to show you the system I'm going to install in here to not have to use this. I will leave those there, factory units, to make it look like they're still operating. I'll put all the plugs in and make it look like it's wired up, and I'll try and make this look as factory as possible. I want everything to look factory, like even I'm not going to have shiny metals in here. You're probably all going to be like a satin black. Even the turbos, I'm thinking of powder coating. Intake manifold, powder coat. Mostly everything black. The charge pipe, stuff like that, black. So, and I like that look myself. I'm not into. When I was young, I liked all the polished chrome and stuff, but not anymore. So yeah, that's about. If you have any questions, just ask me. You know, I'll answer. But yeah, now I'm got this harness. I'm not stressed anymore because that will make it a lot easier. The only problem I may have is if some of this doesn't operate anymore or won't work anymore when it still needs to. So anyway, we'll call it at that, crew. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and share, and let's see if I can stop this camera now without deleting